Hello. How's everyone doing today? Hope everyone's doing well. Let me go ahead and get Tailspire launched. Skull ball is just hanging by a thread. I like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slowly. It's hard to say that I'd rather stay awake when I'm asleep. Everything is never as it seems. Is that a little too big? No, that's good. I'm far too tired to fall asleep. That looks so weird without the, oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. Oh, no. Planet Earth turns slowly. Round two. Awake when I'm asleep. Everything is never as it seems. I like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slowly. It's hard to say that I'd rather stay awake when I'm asleep. But our dreams are bursting at the seams. Planet Earth turns slowly. I'm saying that I'd rather stay awake when I'm asleep. Trying to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slowly. Hard to say that I'd rather stay awake when I'm asleep. Everything is never as it seems. Anything new? I don't think they've added anything new outside of maybe some monster pieces. Yeah, it is expected. I just stopped that up before. Okay. Interesting, but no. Oh no, it's the wrong piece. Fuck. I knew it was a little weird. Oh, Bear, are you okay? Bear, come here. Hey, Bear. Come here. Doggo is fine. Well, I guess I can just do that. Here we go. That looks about right. Something like that, right? Yeah. Actually, hold up. There we go. Go and do these doors, because why not? What do I want to accomplish with this building? Sort of wish I have it a bit more centralized, but, you know, whatever. Oh, as you wing, a singer of the broken, beaten and the damned. Let's go ahead and clear the insides. don't know what to do. It's like I'm not really feeling like Tailfire right now. I want to do something new. What's a game that I can stream and play at the same time? That's not a bad idea. Interesting. Duke Panad. Let me uninstall this game. I won't be playing it for a while. Don't have my VR headset set up. I don't have the space for it. SimCity seems to crash constantly. I don't really know. I'm really getting to the bottom of the barrel here in my thing. Carry on. There's only but carry on. Carry on. Oh, I have Black Ops 2 on here. I don't have it installed, but I don't know if I want to play that. That's like Spore, but worse. Here, I mean, no, let's go to, I'm going to take a look through my itch.io. Yo, Fraud Detective. Super Dungeon Maker. What is this? That's cool, but it's not what I'm really. I'll have to. An average day at the cat cafe. Keep the cafe open when strange customers arise in the night. Ooh. I'll have to try that out. Do I have... let me check. Let me check something. Hey, my Zombitar. Let me see if my license is still good. Alright, yep. New sign in. I don't have an Opera account, I think. What? Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do a legacy because apparently okay. Forgot password. Continue. Alright, let me see if this works. Here we go. What? 8 to 64. Uppercase, lowercase. Sweet. Save. Okay. So this is the installer. Yes. English. I agree. Yeah. Install. Looks like it's still good. I think. Running Visual Studio 2012 redistributable setup. Okay. Funny wall. Kevin Costner's Waterworld. Okay. Brutal Complex. Pixel. Oh yeah, that's right. All the hex tiles. Gives it a style like Catan. Hive time? Oh. Next. Finished. Sweet. Now let me go ahead and... Oh, never mind. I guess it's opening up. Error creating session? Oh, because I need to log in. Update my profile. What? Okay. Game Maker for education. Let me. So. Sign in. Save. Oh, wow. Cool. I don't care. Just let me do this. Profile. Security. Tier. The free tier. What's the difference between the tiers? Monthly or yearly? Well, fuck. So, let's try this again. This changed a lot since I've last opened it, which was a while ago. Yeah, I'll go ahead and leave it at that. Enter code to redeem. Okay. Interesting. I don't want to convert to fucking Oprah. Install, damn it. You know what, I guess while that's going, I can go ahead. There we go. Just Windows everything. There it is. Krita. My friend, my good old friend Krita. Can I edit? No, apparently I can't. What the fuck is going on? I can't change my stream or anything in regards about it. Oh, here we go, here we go. It just had to take a moment. I'll just do that update. Is it not going to open? No. I just did Control Delete and nothing came up. There we go. Okay. Task Manager. Where are you? Game Maker? Okay, whatever. Let me just end process, because nothing wants to fucking work right now. This has a smell to it. Weird. File, new. Probably something like that. I don't know, let's just do 800 by 600. Sure. No, I don't want to do display, I want to do screen cap. It wants to open. Or if, you know, I guess, yeah. There we go, thank you. Okay. So I know what I want, but how? I guess let's make a grid first off. No, 20 is going to be too thick. I just wanna hold my own. No, it's just gonna be the savior of the broken. I guess we'll just go ahead and into the city, marching band. Will you be the savior of the broken, the Satan and the damned? Will you save them? Okay. Okay. Okay, let me go ahead and open up a new tab. I'll go ahead and change. Switch to this. Hi, Rod. So, I originally was going to do Tailspire, and I just didn't feel like doing Tailspire. And so, there's this idea that's been in my mind for some time about a game that I've wanted to make. based off of a different thing. It's sort of like a D&D light. Here, I guess I can just do premise. You are a dungeon. Fuck, no. You are a dungeon owner, like a lich or like a goblin king, etc. Something like that, right? Or maybe a goblin king, evil wizard. And you have a dungeon. You are a dungeon owner with minions and traps and room designs. Yeah. Each, I guess I'm not dungeon over. Yeah, let's go with each overlord. That's a good term. Each overlord would have a special ability, or maybe even minions, like Lich being able to raise undead and undead minions, or wizard having spells. Yeah, well, so Lich raise undead and undead minions, wizard spells, etc. I don't know. It's just traps room design. You would have a special ability. Yep. You would be able to choose the dungeon type, which has advantages and disadvantages. So, like, evil tower or abandoned mine. Abandoned, that's not spelled right. It's an extra A I'm missing. Mine, etc. Yeah. And then, so I think it's going to be a mix of like tower, you know, sort of that tower defense style of gameplay with some other strategy elements. One of the things, I'll just write it down. So one of the ideas is having is selecting minions to go raid nearby villages. Some may die, but in turn they will gain things like gold or infamy, and go with higher infamy means higher or stronger heroes. Or, and I want have different ways to play, right? Like, you could go for your very stereotypical dungeon. I want this, you know, I want you to be, or whoever, right, to be the leader of this dungeon, right? So you could be, like, alright, your stereotypical dungeon with baddies, right? I pause. So, I want the option to run a dungeon that's more like a carnival ride. And what I mean by that, is people will come to experience the dungeon as opposed to conquer.
Oh
shit. Here we go again. Yeah, exactly. So you could be like a stereotypical, you know, overlord with the dungeon. Like, you'd be like an evil lich that, you know, raises the undead and terrorizes nearby villages. And you get, let's say villages will have things that you can't really get because, you know, you're a bad guy that's exiled from all the lands. And you'll be able to get like cool materials, right? And maybe the first couple things will be like some people who are like out on like maybe some campers who have gotten lost or whatever, you know. Also, Spoons, hello, how are you doing? Or you could be a lich that uses it as like a spooky haunted mansion thing. So, build premise. Let's just start off with overlords, I guess. So, game idea, rough draft. I've thought about, like, back in 2020, I thought about getting into video game making, and I got into Game Maker a little bit. Made a tutorial game of asteroids, and then it's like, okay, cool, I have a rough grasp. Now let me go ahead and see, because I want this to be like a grid-based type thing if you're doing combat. Oh yeah, speaking of, players can set up rooms from either a predetermined set, or if they are so inclined, they can make their own rooms. Let's say, but some rooms need certain requirements. Go with i.e. To go with dining room need table and chairs. I have been wanting to do this for a while, and I have been having sort of like a mental block when it comes to Tailspire and stuff like that. So I just thought, let's just bring up an old idea, put it down on paper, and go for it. Potion and spells. Ooh, yeah. So certain like dining chairs, like, yeah. So let's say you want to make your own room because you aren't quite happy with the design of a certain room. You could do that, but in turn you would need to still include objects like a dining table and chairs and shit, you know? And then everything would be based on a grid system for combat. Now, this is where I think the fun part is. Players can either choose to manually play and command their minions, or if they want to focus on other aspects, they can have an auto battle. Type thing. So let's say you want to, I don't know, I'm not really sure, because there would be sort of like overworld aspect type deals, like an overworld map that would have like a village you could raid. Let's say there's a shady merchant you can buy stuff from. Stuff like that. And so maybe you're doing some other stuff. Yeah, I know, yeah. And it's auto battle. Go. Maybe not sure on this one. And with some things that I eventually want are a free, sort of like is sandbox mode, along with a story structure type, where it would be like based off like as days progress, the enemies grow alongside you, and more importantly, and there would be bosses. And when I mean bosses, I mean like really strong heroes in a sense, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I think the first thing is... Oh, and then one other thing. And then finally... any good dungeon has a couple of traps. Structure law sounds with that help us. Now, I will say, got the name? Well, if you... I mean, it sounds like with that, you should be able to find it. It might take a little bit of digging. Poobris, hello, how are you doing? Any good dungeon has a couple of traps. As far as the traps, that's the one thing I'm very sure on. I sort of know what to conclude. Regardless of which overlord you pick, or maybe not. Maybe I'll have perfect cells seem better Japanese media. Ost. Ooh. Overlord pick. You'll have some handymen that overlook the more minuscule aspects, and or Korean. Sort of more of that. What? I don't want to say like it's not J-pop, right? It's not pop in that sense, but more like Asian music. But like, yeah, I think I don't know. My mind's running in two different lanes right now. Yeah. have some handymen that overlook more minuscule aspects, and when pulling up menus for like traps or new minions, there'd be those handymen. I mean, that's fair, right? I feel like, you know, there's like English rap, which is pretty common due to the clout a lot of English rappers have. But I feel like any rap outside of that is going to be pretty niche, you know? Like, Asian rap is something, two words that I haven't really thought about combining together, but now that, you know, I've heard of it, it's, oh yeah, that definitely exists at this point in time. It's like traps or new minions, there'd be those handymen. Alright, so I think that's... dining rooms need tables and chairs, sure. Alright, so let's take a look at some designs for the Overlord. The first, a classic Lich. General premise. Strong being adapt the bosses to these playstyles. So you're talking about like the hero bosses, you mean? The hero bosses. Alright, so yeah, there's the overlords and the heroes, right? The heroes, in a sense. Heroes, yeah. So overlords and then heroes. So I think the way we'll do it is okay, I could leave it in here. Overlords would be what the fuck? Who the player controls and gains their respective abilities. So then we do adventures, which would be sort of like your average enemies that vary with abilities and attacks. Yeah. I mean, we gotta do like blue for Saiyans, right? So overlords. Here, let's bold this. Bold. Adventures. So these are gonna be like whole groups. Then we want heroes, which would be incredibly strong adventures that have unique abilities. And would be considered bosses to the player in story mode. Yes, heroes are the bosses, because this is how it goes. Adventures would be your little grunts, right? The little guys was like some like generic plate mail with a little shield and a sword. The most generic looking like a knight adventure, that. But heroes would be things, they would have like a whole health bar along special abilities like let's go with like a barbarian from D&D, right? He would, melee only, but it would be very brutal at close range. Or maybe a wizard who has a bunch of good guys up in the front, and he constantly supplies them. Or like a bard with his like band of musicians or whatever, stuff like that. Strong being once immortal. Yeah, no, totally. Adventures would have different like classes, because there would be like different. So let's say, right, there's a barbarian adventurer and then a barbarian hero. A barbarian adventurer his main thing he'd probably melee only, right? Probably be a little bit faster than like an extra tile of movement or whatever. And then it would have like a barbarian rage type thing. I don't know how that would, because I don't want to just do like copy from D&D, right? And then there would be like our barbarian hero who would have a lot more high damage fast. Yeah, exactly. Even though barbarians don't have low health, I mean, they're supposed to have like high health. Like, I think, well, yeah, because I want to say like there would just be like adventure, like different levels too, maybe, in the sense of like there would be like a level 1 barbarian who all he has is a wooden club and a loincloth, versus like, let's say, a level 5 barbarian who has a magical club and I don't know. it's just like some ideas, but let's just stick with the player. So Lich, so skeleton, go with powerful skelly boy with long cape, right color. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, true. I guess, yeah. For doing. It feels. I don't know. Like the concepts of the characters, I like. I just don't like just taking a lot of general ideas from D&D. I want more unique things, right? Like a thief who. Here, like, so let's say there would be a so like a thief clad in black and has the ability to sneak by things, will avoid combat at all costs, and will try to steal any valuables. And then let's say maybe gets stronger as he steals more things. Maybe. On cost, don't try to steal valuables. It's more powerful, but it'd be really weak, like health-wise. Go low health, scaling damage. Versus, and then we could do like a simple archer, right? Has bow, can do ranged attacks. I think. I feel like having, like the barbarian or the bard, right? Those titles maybe traditional for the heroes, while having more generic stuff for adventures, right? Because like I don't know, I feel like that's just makes a little bit more sense because like it'd be the equivalent of having a bunch of D&D NPCs take the dungeon versus a player character, and player characters would be like a boss in a sense, you know. As bow, it can do ranged attacks. Low health, moderate damage. Cape in a bright color. Glowing eyes. I think for each overlord, I want at least 2 to 3 special abilities or traits. A total of 3 things. It could either be all special traits, or all special abilities, or a mix of both. So I think definitely with the Lich. So ability 1. Go with ability Alpha. Let's go with Alpha. Ability Bravo. Because I don't want to do 1, 2, and 3. I want to do. And the reason why is ability Charlie is like sort of like scaling power. Like Alpha would be probably the main point, right? Unless there's a character that's more of an all-rounder, which I think I might add. But for the Lich's main thing would be, let's say, once per battle can raise all slain adventurers. Adventurers. Or maybe can raise all slain adventures. I feel like for something like that, they'd either be raised into a skeleton, like that just does melee with the sword or whatever melee weapon they had equipped, right? Like, or they would be ranged, like with a bow. Or if it was like a caster, it would lose its ability to cast, so it would just run at them with their fists. Something like that. Raise all slain adventures. Yeah. Ability Bravo. So Alpha is supposed to be like the main big thing, right? What would be some good... well, yeah, so we got a thief, archer, let's do, knight, standard melee, standard melee guy. Moderate health and damage. Yeah. Well, for the enemies, I sort of wanted like have it be sort of like Plants vs. Zombies, to where there's a lot of enemies with different variants, and they all have their own special things. But obviously, you know, the hero's boss thing is a little bit different. So, Knight, Thief, Archer, And then I'm thinking maybe like a healer too. Just do like, I don't know, a medic. Heals nearby. Heals nearby. Adventure is low damage though. No, I'll probably have just like a basic mage as well. Mage. Just want to hold on. Yo, Amber, hello. How's it going? Temtem on sale. Oh, is that? I think that's, yeah. Anyways, how are you doing, Amber? So, mage casts basic spells. Go with low health, high damage. Or maybe not high damage on a single target versus, yeah, we'll just do that. Mages would be a lot rarer. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Temtem, yeah. Yeah, it's a Pokemon-like game. Pokemon-inspired. Low health, high damage.
I'm not talking about money, Jack. I'm talking ideals. I am quite good, you know. Just what I was looking for. Oh, another one. Where do they all come?
Go with. Yeah, no, it's sadly Rod is poor and he only has an Xbox. Isn't it on sale on all platforms though? And is it crossplay? Oh, neat. Didn't know it was crossplay. I thought it was just PC only. The paladin, high health and high damage. Only. Rymus, hello. Not today, it's fair. Ooh, the more you know. Rymus, you have, as far as Amber's talking about Temtem, it's on sale. It's that Pokemon MMO. I am currently working on a game idea I've had cooking up in my head for a while, and because I was gonna do Tailspire, but I just didn't feel like doing Tailspire, so. How many people are currently playing that game, Amber? Like, when you hop into a server. Over 2. Whoa, damn. I remember hearing about it, like, when it first came out, and that was, like, it. Yeah, I'm a bit surprised too. Once per battle can raise All slain adventures. So let's go with no money. Why are you poor, Remus? Just get a job. I kid. So let's go with trait Bravo. Instead of regular minions, all minions are undead. The suspense. I'm glad to hear you're doing good, remember? That message, Remus, sounds like the antithesis of sleepy. Caps and long letters does not come to mind as sleepy. Yeah, and I'm running pretty slim on money right now too, because I got paying for some new emotes and Thanksgiving and so a whole bunch of other stuff. So. That'd probably be, I don't know, yeah, I'm not sure when I'd have enough to splurge. Alright, Ember, sounds good. Alright, so, Rod, much from Twitch, my only source of income. Go online. Go to, like, Indeed, or, no, I think it's just, I was gonna say, or maybe LinkedIn? Stuff like that. You could look for just online, just go to, oh, my location, jobs nearby, or whatever, you know. Stuff like that. You can also ask your family if they know anyone that's hiring too, if you haven't done that already. Did you try doing Indeed? I feel like Indeed would be a good option. Ability Charlie. Alright, Remus. Oh, sorry. Too far away for you to consider. Okay. Fuck, man, I don't know. Yeah, if you don't have, like, a ride or anything, or, like, you know, to get it up, like, fuck, I don't know. Maybe is there something that's online only? Yeah, I don't know much about the employment market over there right now. I don't keep tabs on how things are going in the Philippines all the time, you know. Alright, Remus, while you're here, though, when you think of a lich, what do you think of as far as things they do? Not talking about what they look like. Talking about the things they're able to do. Or things that they do because they're a lich. I guess that goes for you. Applying curses and creating domains. I like the curse idea. I think I would reserve that for the wizard, though. etc. Please be more specific, Ramus. I'm trying to do a rough draft for a game I want to make. Gathering souls. Okay. I like the idea, but also at the same time, it seems very complex. Okay, so, hold up. Ugh. I feel like each overlord has a thing they need to protect at the end of the dungeon. Otherwise, what would be the point of having a dungeon if there's no reward at the end for the adventurers, right? And maybe it's like, I think we could do like a dragon, right? Or maybe not, I don't know, but like a dragon has its hoard of gold. I think what the Lich, his main thing would be souls, right? Like a little soul juice container, that as you kill more adventurers in your dungeon, you get more souls, and then eventually after you get enough, you'd be able to unleash havoc, or right, pretty much reach the end game. Souls through capitalism. So, let's say what game win condition is gathering enough souls from dungeon battles of other liches. Pile of physical. Yeah, so Ramus, to catch you up if you haven't been, so the premise of the game is that you are an overlord of a dungeon, so you would be the Lich or the evil wizard or like the dragon, right? And your goal is to pretty much wreak havoc and make a really good dungeon. And so this would be things for you to do. So like game win condition, would you be killing enough? Well, you're someone. This is nothing related to D&D. This is like a video game idea that I want to make. And so right now I'm just pretty much doing, as you can see, a rough draft. So the overlords, who the player controls and gains their respective abilities, they run the dungeon and all that. So if someone picked the Lich as their overlord, they would win by gathering enough souls within their dungeon. And then they'd be able to release some sort of wave of undead monsters to overtake the thing, right? You're being the bad guy. Yeah, so that's sort of what I'm trying to focus it around, right? So ability alpha. The main ability during combat is, let's say, once per battle, every dead adventurer you kill, you can raise as an undead, right? And so it pays to wait until later, in the battle, or if it's like a small group, you don't really use it, you just let your minions do it. Or if there's like a whole siege going on, after maybe going through half of what you can see on screen or whatever, right? Doing an unraise, and then there'd be a bunch of evil minions within the ranks, right? And then his trait, right? Traits and abilities, instead of having regular minions, like let's say slimes or whatever, right? He would have skeletons and zombies as like a basic thing. And then the game win condition is, after killing, every time you kill a thing in your dungeon, you get their soul, and after gathering enough souls, you win but maybe you also use souls for like upgrades. Maybe, I don't know, or maybe for like abilities. I don't know, because I feel like the souls at this point would just be a MacGuffin, but being able to use them for stuff. And then ability Charlie, because I want each character to have 3 things that's specific to them as a thing they could do or a thing that's innate to them. So we already have, they could raise undead. They have undead. What would be another thing? Raise undead. What's another lich thing? Like if you're in like a dungeon of a lich, or something like that. You wouldn't have to worry about getting yourself killed. Or maybe if the adventurers make it in, they have to fight you. That might be the case. I don't know. Or maybe once they reach the center, right? Let's say your soul tank, that's when you lose. What's the idea? Well, remember, you are the Lich in this situation. And the adventurers, the knights, the bards, the paladins, they're evil. They're the bad guys in this scenario. You gotta remember that. You are playing as the Lich. You are killing the adventurers. That's the goal. That's the main objective. You are running a dungeon. But the ability to resurrect. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bad idea. I'm just trying to think of how that would work. Because I feel like, in general, they enter the main room. Yeah, so let's say you have, let's say, room A, room B, and the treasure room. The treasure room would be either where the hoards of gold is, or the soul. Let's say in the case of the Lich, where he stores the souls, right? Yeah, so they already have like a resurrection thing. So they resurrect dead adventurers, dead enemies, and the enemies then become, the resurrected enemies then become your friends and attack the former friends, right? Yeah, that too. I think that's another thing, right? Is if you, I think the Lich itself would have his own like combat type abilities, and what I mean by that is like special attacks only the Lich would have, compared to a regular minion. But yeah, so if you are alive in the sense that you haven't been knocked out of commission somewhere else before, well, I think that would be like the last stance, right? So let's say you're minding your own business, right? And let's say a bunch of thieves sneak by your guys or whatever, right? And so you are the last line of defense before they take out your prized thing. Fuck. Ooh. I think for ability Charlie, can resurrect so let's say Lich can resurrect themselves to half health after going down to 0. So I think that ability would be used in this final step, right? So I do like the idea of illusion and stuff around this. That being said, though, I think that'd be for a different overlord, because I think I really want the Lich to be mainly focused on undead and resurrection and death in general. That's a really good thing. The illusion and charms, though, I think I could see being a different overlord. But so I think for the Lich, we'll stick with this. Ability Alpha is something he can do during any battle, is resurrect any adventurers that his minions have killed, or he has killed in that sense. Trait Bravo is, instead of having, let's say, slimes and stuff as like basic things for his minions, he instead has skeletons and zombies and stuff like that. And then ability Charlie is when the Lich is fighting directly. Once they would die, they would instead they would get like down for maybe like a turn or whatever, but then get brought back up to half health. Ooh. Okay. So maybe, yeah. Let's say at the start of the, let's say day 1 tutorial level, the only room is what would be like the throne room, the final boss room, right? And then behind the boss room would be the treasure room, right? And so day 1, tutorial day 0, or whatever, right, would have you playing as the Lich in a fight. And then that would pretty much teach you how to do all these special abilities. And so theoretically, you could, let's say there's a siege going on, because theoretically the Lich, whoever the Overlord is, right? Lich, the wizard, maybe like an evil bard or whatever, right? You would theoretically want them to stay in the back, in the throne room, because they'd probably also get, like, let's say, they'll get a King Goblin, yeah. They'll get a bonus for being in their throne room, because that's their home domain, and they want to keep their treasure close at heart. And so they get a bonus, but let's say there's a siege going on up front at the entrance of your dungeon. You need all hands on deck. You could send in one of your high-ranking goons to guard the throne room while you yourself go out into the main fields and do all that stuff. Ooh, vampire. I do like the idea. Yeah, so remember, I'm talking about abilities they could use at any time. The player can use it any time, regardless if the Lich is in the room or not. But yeah, theoretically, as one of their spells or attacks, they could do like a life leech, or something like that, or like a life drain, where they're draining age out and it gets health back. So that's something the Lich could have as an attack. So yeah, here let's go with attacks. We've got staff, club. Go hitting them with your staff. We've got life leech. Let's say basic. Well, I wouldn't say it's maybe just sort of like what's it called? Necrosis. drains the age. Oh yeah, so necrosis drains the age from the target and gives it to the player, right, or whatever. It's pretty much just like a life leech type thing, or maybe not age, more like vitality. Vitality. Instantly die or something. Okay. Not a bad idea. Low hit, but strong attack. Low chance to hit. So we've got Staff Clobbering, a basic melee attack, in case all else fails. Necrosis is pretty much like a life leech thing. You'd take a little bit of health back. It wouldn't be a 1-for-1. Probably be every point of damage you do, you would get half back. I do like the idea of the overall HP. But I don't know what like HP scale I want. If it's like off of 10s or off of like 1s, right? Or even like 100, right? That's the 3 scales. You could do very simple 1, 2, 3 as their health points, or 10 based off of 10s, or base it off of 100s. If we're going off of 10s or 100s, I think I could see the max HP cap. Increasing the max HP. I'm not saying I dislike it. I'm trying to think of how to add it in. Because the idea of health drain and altering health in general, I feel like would be fitting for a lich, because it's life and death controlling that. Oh! No, I think what would be a good idea is sort of... That's not a bad idea. What I'm thinking is, right, I want another reason for people to collect their item, right, their souls. So I could say for the Lich, I want whoever is playing the Lich, I want there to have multiple reasons for collecting souls outside of reaching the end game. And I think one of those is strengthening your main overlord, right? So let's say go with soul empowered, I guess. More souls collected, higher max HP or something like that. Ooh. I don't... So here's the thing, right? Souls is what the Lich needs to collect. And theoretically, I could have that be its own separate thing, using souls as a part of the way the Lich attacks. But my main issue with that is, let's say we were to go over to some sort of, like, let's say the Goblin King, right? And he wants to collect a bunch of shinies. Having him have expelling shinies for an attack, unless it's like literally throwing coins, I don't think would work. But maybe that could be another like gimmick part for the Lich. So we've got Staff Club, Necrosis, More souls collected, higher HP. Okay, I know what. I know. I think, so the Lich, powerful. Yeah, let's go. Lich will probably have, lower than average HP before they get downed. However, they have what, like, let's say, less damage taken. So theoretically, the way you want to play the Lich is at a distance, right? You don't want whoever's playing Lich, you don't want to run up to a guy point blank unless there's a good reason. And I'm thinking for that good reason, you said you wanted a sort of high risk, high reward, or not really high risk, but insta kill. And so I think I want to do the Harvester. Is what I'll call it. Is you need to be within range, so like melee range. Takes a whole turn, or I guess takes 2 turns. Takes 2 turns, but so it takes 2 turns. So 1, 2, start. Other finishes. When you start, other finishes. Takes 2 turns, but in doing so, would instantly kill any adventurer. It wouldn't kill any hero, because heroes would probably have a way to prevent that, in a sense, right? Like, having like insta kill for any boss seems a little unfair. It would still do like a lot of damage, but it's like, I don't know. It's like a paladin, right? A paladin would be a let's say the paladin hero, because the hero's member would be equivalent of a boss. The paladin, he would be a little bit bulkier, wearing full suit of armor. And while whoever the Harvester gets would be stunned, right? He would just like, he wouldn't be stunned. He would like block it away with your the shield and just pretty much stop the thing. And I think the Harvester, if you instantly kill any adventurer and collects soul. Collects soul. If taken any damage, attack is interrupted. Collects the soul. And so I think pretty much what I want to go for like the Lich, I think playstyle wise is sort of going to be in the back as a caster, right? Because Lich innately is tied to magic, right? And the ability to resurrect in case they die somehow, I think is a great. Oh shit, I messed up card. But I want a lot of their attacks to be, yeah, exactly, more like long range types, or more ranged spells, to where you can't cast ranged spells if someone's within melee range of you, or rather, you can't cast a ranged spell at someone that's within melee range, or something like that. And so, but you also would be incredibly weak too. No, I was saying, like, with like a ranged spell, right? Like, let's say you had like a beam spell, you wouldn't be able to cast it at someone that's within melee range. I think just to sort of incentivize players trying to stay away from enemies. But having, but that's why you have like a simple whack with your staff whack, right? To get people, hey, die, right? Or theoretically too, if some guy comes at you alone, you could do the harvester, but you're also negating an entire turn, instantly killing that enemy. Yeah. Let me just do just minimum range requirement for some spells. So let's just go with combat related stuff. And Necrosis would be a ranged spell. Ranged. And then we could have just some generic, sort of generic. I don't say generic, but they would have like a beam spell or a sort of like a isolated spell. What I mean by that is something like how Fireball works. 5e. To where Fireball, it's at a point of origin. Lechonk. ISO, yeah. I think that's good enough for the Lich for the time being. We've got his 3 main, like, overall things that are used throughout. And their condition for winning. At least for the time being. Because I don't want to have, like, I don't want to overload the player with a lot of options. Oh, I just realized I created a nice little synergy here to while you are, you do want to avoid melee thing. If you find a guy isolated, right? You could use your harvester to do it, and once you collect the soul, you get a higher max HP. That's actually really cool. So yeah, theoretically, if it's just the Lich alone in a room, you want to make sure the Lich avoids any melee combat, because the Lich does not shine there. It's going to have a lot of the attacks that won't be able to really do anything. Especially getting ganged up on. Because it takes 2 turns, right, the Harvester. Because if it's a one-on-one melee, you probably want to use the Harvester. However, if you were to... let's say there were multiple people, some with ranged attacks. You could use a harvester on a melee guy, but if you get down to the process, you just wasted a turn pretty much. I like it. Yeah, exactly. Or, if you really want to power up your Lich, you have your minions nearby, and so you gang up on a guy, you have the Lich start the harvester, while, your other minions try to pretty much take the heat off of the Lich. I would be pretty... If I'm able to get this idea into works, I'd be really interested to see. Because, like, right, this is all just brainstorming right now. Coding is going to be the hardest part. Making it actually work. Okay, so Overlords, we'll go ahead and make... Oh, here, we'll make this bold to like 16 font. then we could do this and just make that bold and italicized. Alright. Now, okay, so I think, yeah, the Lich has less HP, but also, I don't know if I want to do the less damage taken part. I think overall, just starts off with lower than average. Starts off with lower than average HP. But let's say is also slightly faster than average. Let's go with that. I was thinking about adding a dragon overlord, right? Like your traditional red evil dragon, your whatever, right? Because I think it would be a cool idea. It's just, traditionally speaking, dragons are very greedy, and obviously their main game win condition would be getting a horde, right? A large enough horde. But my main issue, like traditionally, is like dragons work alone, and they have one big den. And I feel like, well, no, I guess not always. And that's what I was thinking too. It could be like their, yeah, they work alone. So here, let's go work on the dragon next. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, so dragon. So with I go strong flying dragon. Boyo. High health. High, go with high health, high damage, and then fast, can fly. So I go with ability alpha, go with trait bravo, which is greedy. It's only you. No minions, no traps, just you. And I definitely feel like the dragon is a character you would unlock after beating the game, after with like a couple of other things, right? Because I don't want to say, oh yeah, here's all the things available at once. That's no fun. I think you'll start off with different. You'll start off with one. Maybe you'll start off with the Lich, because the Lich is pretty forgiving. And so the Lich would be a great way for the player to learn. And also you do get that extra revive. And so in case you do end up messing up, you get a mulligan. And then let's say after, you know, beating the game or whatever, after with X amount of characters, then you'll get like the dragon, or maybe there'll be a special event where you're able to get a dragon egg, and after you do the events, you get a dragon. It's only you. No minions, no traps, just you. An ability. Special, like, dungeon ability. That's what I'm thinking of. What's a special ability a dragon would have that's not an attack? Not fire breath. Not the fact that he's strong or fast. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, but I think that would be more for the Goblin King type thing. Regen. Ooh. Health regen during battle? Well, the Lich already has health regen, but it's damage based. Hardened scales. The real long cooldown. I'm trying to. I'm thinking here. So, you have. Yeah, I'm trying to think what would be considered an attack versus an ability, something you'd be able to do, or that affects you almost no matter when, or during a battle, like an overall crowd thing. Versus, I guess. You could, yeah, a dragon roar. But with that, no, yeah, abilities and attacks. The dragon roar would be an ability. Dragon's roar. Well, the dragon's fire breath would be an attack. Because I think abilities aren't necessarily going to be. They aren't going to do damage or like directly cause damage. I think would be a great way to do it. If it causes damage, it's an attack. Yeah. Dragon's Roar. So Dragon's Roar, which will be go with intimidates all enemies on screen, or let's say, oh yeah, it's on screen, because the Dragon's Roar would be pretty loud, and even in a Dragon's Den, it would be everyone that's like there on screen, rendering all but the most fiercest of heroes, meaning that it won't apply to all bosses. All but the most fiercest of heroes in fear. Ooh, elements mid-battle. Yeah, I like that. I do like that. So if we're doing the the scare away attackers, that would probably be under Dragon's Roar. If it's just like 1 or 2 enemies, like, go with, if it's a small group, they run away in fear of, if they're small group / weak, a small / weak group, small / weak group, they will run away. So I think a good way to do it, right, is, let's say a group of 20 knights shows up, right? You have a lot of health and you could do a lot of damage. And you'd be able to, you know, sustain the battle. Let's say halfway through, you know, you've done a lot of damage. Let's say you've done, there's still 20 knights, but they're all at like half health, right? Or there's like less than 20 knights and they're all at half health. You could do the Dragon's Roar, and then, you know, they either A, be rendered useless for X amount of turns, or B, they'll run away. Yeah, for the yeah, small weak group, they will run away. So the Dragon's Roar thing, right? If it's a, hey, someone's raiding your dungeon and it's like 3 fucking knights, do the Dragon's Roar, man. Or you could fight them, right? It's either or. If you don't want to be bothered with the battle, you could do the Dragon's Roar. Otherwise, you can just kill them, you know. But also, I feel like killing them would be, would give you more infamy than doing a Dragon's Roar too. So go with a chance-based. If they run away, can only be used once per battle. That way you can't just spam it. So traits, Bravo is greedy, no traps or anything, it's just you. And then, what? Other than attacks, yeah. So, and then last what we're doing, let's go with ability Charlie. Yeah, which I want to do is, Elemental Fury. I think I want. Different elemental attacks should have different effects, right? Fire, classic, does extra damage per turn. Fire damage, you know. Cold or ice damage makes them move slower, but maybe also does slightly less damage. Acid, I don't know, because I'm not, right, we're just getting general ideas down. I'm not sure what acid would do. If it would be like, if enemies would have like armor ratings too, you know, and that would lower their armor. Like if you have armor, it reduces the amount of damage you take by that many points. So let's say if we're going on scales of 1, right? Let's say enemy has 3 HP, but they have an armor of 2. So if if you were to hit them with 3 damage, they would only take 1. Something like that. So Elemental Fury, gain the ability, so not gain the ability, you are able to switch between elements. You are I like how it still skips the so you're able to switch between elements for your attacks and what. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, so now let's go on to combat focused. Oh, and then so game win is by hoarding enough gold. Golds / valuables. Pretty simple. So yeah, fire does mostly does damage. Frost could be hindrance. Yeah. Acid could be debuffs. Yeah, so combat focused. I think, yeah, so you could do elements, what each element does. So, combat focused, I go with elements and what they do. Fire. Sets the enemy ablaze. That one's pretty simple. Go with frost. Yeah, so sets the enemies ablaze. Will defrost any enemies. Frost will slow down enemies, but will put out any enemies on. Will extinguish any enemies. Any burning enemies. So fire does extra damage. Frost is movement hindrance. Acid, which will be go with unsure, but if have armor system strips and then lightning water. I mean, it's sort of already like frost though. Cold. You do air. Be weird though. Just a dragon breathing really hard. Say lightning. Slightly less damage, but will jump to nearby targets. And then wind. How to? Yeah, probably best if you hold it back. Very little damage, but pushes enemies back. I think that's good. Fire does extra damage. Frost slows them down. Acid, if I have an armor system, will strip them of armor. If not, I don't know what it'll do. Probably debuffs. Lightning doesn't do as much damage, but will jump to nearby targets. And wind, very little damage, but pushes enemies back really far. Corrupted by the internet. I don't know. So let's go with for attacks. We could do bite. You do a little bite and swallow. Bite. Just as it sounds. Bite. Let's go with. Let's go with Elemental Swipe, which is claws will do damage based on what element you have. And then we'll do like a elemental breath. Oh, and then let's do you're able to switch between for your attacks. Can only switch once per turn, or once per round. Each effect has a debuff. Elements combining? Element chaining? I'm not really sure how you do element chaining with some of these. Like lightning. Or wind. He's frozen. Yeah, I mean, like, so that could work. I do like the idea of element synergy. I'm gonna just do look into element synergy. I'll leave that there. Elemental breath. Bruh. Rimus. Inspiration. I don't know, that's fair. I'll go with AOE. Effect using elemental focus. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Something fall apart. I do like the idea of the acid also being flammable. I would like to see lightning and wind combined together, because that would be cool. You only have one element out at a time. Ooh, what if people affected by lightning? Well, I don't know. AoE effect. Ooh, what about Elemental spit. There we go. So go another AoE effect. Using elemental focus. Alright, not effect. I should make this one an attack. AoE attack using elemental focus. And that's just going to be sort of like a... maybe. And then, so we... AoE effect, right? Elemental spit, right? The dragon spits out into the ground and creates a tile that is affected by a thing, an AoE thing. Yeah. So AoE effect will pretty much place that element on the ground, you know, on the grid, in a sense. So something with that, I think it'd be a great combo, because you're pretty much placing down your element on the ground. So you could place down a fire that would last for a couple of turns. And ooh, okay. So let's say with the elemental spit, you place down your the element you want. Let's say you place down fire, and so you have a little kindling flame. And then let's say or rather, ooh. Okay, so I think what we could do, right? Fire and acid. A triple combo. Okay, so let's say you put acid on someone. Strip them of their armor for during armor mechanics. And so they're covered in acid. And then you set them on fire, the acid is flammable, so they are taking extra fire damage. And then you could use a wind attack on them. So not only are you pushing them back, but it's acting like a billow since the fire is large enough to where the fire gets even stronger type deal, you know? Something like that. Or with lightning, right? If you do the elemental spit, you place down, let's say, a little either static ball of lightning or a little lightning cloud. And then you'd be able to move it around with wind. Something like that. I don't know. So stuff like that, I think, would be a good way to do it. I think we'll leave it at there for now. And then we can add on to it later. Alright, let's take a look at some heroes. What you guys would be facing, right? I placed down the Paladin. The Paladin, he would be sort of like a very beefy, tanky melee unit. He would probably come, so Paladin boss. Let me just look. Paladin, high health and high damage, but it would only be melee. Would come with an entourage. Oh wow, almost got that. Of knights and come with an entourage of knights and archers. Entourage of knights and archers. So, I mean, paladins still have like a little bit of healing factor, don't they? Not as much as like a cleric, if I remember right. Come with an entourage of knights and archers. Go with abilities. Ooh, abilities. Tower shield. Has a large shield with a set amount of health. Can spend around in a defensive position, and any damage that from the direction the shield is facing takes the full brunt, pretty much is what I'm trying to say. So the shield takes it instead of the paladin. Shield's facing. Shield takes instead of the paladin. Gotcha. So for the paladin right now, right, the paladin boss battle, he would come with an entourage of knights and archers, and one of his abilities is the tower shield. He would have a large, huge-ass shield, and then he could spend a turn entrenching it down, setting it up, and any damage taken from the front, unless it's like a special thing, let's say maybe like acid or whatever, right? Any damage from the front, the shield would take completely. So it would be a great way for like archers to set up behind the paladin, and then to shoot over him, over at your guys or whoever your main guy is.
Hey Charlie, what's up, Sully? Some scammer wants to do a video. Are you down to do that? No,
Yeah, that's. I think here, so abilities. Something strange in the neighborhood. Another ability I think would be rallying war cry. Yeah, so I think so the boss battles in this, they aren't just going to be one hero shows up, right? That's not really the point. More realistically, it would be a boss battle with a bunch of minions. So it's like boss, minions, and minions, or just really good minions versus your boss, right? And so the paladin, he would show up with a group of other knights and archers, right? And obviously his main defense, it would be, he would have a lot of, okay, if we're going with the armor thing, which is coming more and more likely, he would have high armor, higher than average armor, and have the shield, right? And, you know, the shield can take a lot of damage. So theoretically, you would either have something that penetrates or to flank around him. But he would also have an entourage of knights and archers causing havoc, too. But once the shield is destroyed, he doesn't have the shield anymore. So, Paladin, Tower Shield, Rallying War Cry, and invigorates nearby allies. Yeah, I think that's sort of what I'm trying to go for. Invigorate nearby allies. Can't be intimidated. Or no, I wouldn't say can't be intimidated. Let's say they won't retreat. They can still be intimidated, so where they won't do anything, but they just won't leave the arena. Very nearby allies, they won't retreat, and they move faster. And faster. And allies would also have faster movement. Okay. And then... Oh, so we're just doing abilities. Yeah, this is Tower Shield, Rallying War Cry. I think we'll leave it at that. Yeah, so Paladin, high health, high damage, melee only. Maybe not melee only. I want to do Divine Smite. I feel like that would be fitting. Divine Smite. Takes a turn to... Ooh, no, so it takes 2 turns to charge, then next attack is really powerful. Alright, Ramus. Oh, fuck. Really powerful. Next attack is really powerful. Heroes, Tower Shield. Yeah, I think we'll stick with that. And he'll just have, I think, like, melee attacks. Because I'm imagining this guy being an absolute fucking unit compared to all of his other dudes. Like, twice as tall, twice as wide, an absolute giant. Changing, I know time wasting. Knight, Thief, Archer, Medic, and Mage. Ooh, what if we had like tiers of adventures? Tier 1. Tier 2. So you would have... Maybe not like a knight for tier 1. Who would go with Town Guard? A thief. Go with a hunter. Let's go with an apprentice. I misspelled that completely. Yeah, there we go. Tier 2. I think tier 2, this would be the knight. Upgraded town guard. Higher HP and damage. Go with so I want I want like an assassin. Thief, let's go with ninja. Welcome back, Rymus. I've switched off of the paladin for now, because I'm thinking I don't want just like the same level of adventures, and when I mean adventures, I mean the basic grunts. And so I'm doing different tiers of adventures, right? You have tier 1, your basic melee unit would be the town guard. And then you'd have a thief. And so like each one fits a specific role. You've got the town guard, which is your melee unit. Your thief, which is your sneaky boy. You've got the hunter, which is your ranged unit. The medic, which is your healer. And then the apprentice, which is your mage or your spellcaster. So tier 2, those are just like absolute basic things. And I think as the tiers progress, there will also be more specialized enemies that have more unique equipment or like variants, right? So you got the knight, upgraded town guard, pretty much has more. The thief, or sorry, the ninja, it's going to be a little bit different. More, so can still sneak around. Will try to sneak behind your defenses. Not sneak behind your defenses, but sneak behind your minions. Here we go. And take them by surprise. Go with higher HP and does extra damage when in stealth. Let's leave it like that. And then we'll go ahead and do the archer. Upgraded. Hunter. Because I think we'll just do like 3 tiers of enemies. Because because I feel like I don't want this to be overly complex. The archer, upgraded hunter, increased HP and damage. Not much there. And then we would have what would probably be cleric, I guess. Sort of magical healer. Can also heal allies at a distance. And then finally, we've got, we'll just do the mage. Tier 2 is going to be like, because I think what I wanted, Tier 1 is going to be people from like a village, right? People who aren't that great, So like the Tier 1, like a town guard, or maybe it'll just be like an adventurer, right? Too. Well, how I think I'll sort of, these are just sort of more like code names. The town guard, level thief, hunter, medic, apprentice, and then you got Tier 2 would be like average party, what you would imagine as fantasy and people going into a dungeon. Mage, higher level spellcaster, pretty apparent. Health. Can also cast defensive spells and apply buffs / debuffs. And then Tier 3, which would only be like endgame type stuff. So you got knights. What do you upgrade from like a knight? Go with a royal knight. I don't know. Sent by the king himself. These fellows are the cream of the crop. And then we'll do the assassin. Not only can they sneak around, they also have ranged attacks and can do extra damage when in stealth. Then we've got, we'll probably do crossbowman. I think crossbowman would be good. Ooh, a musketman. Oh, we'll just stick with crossbowman. No, we'll make it a rifleman. A musketman, I guess. Musketman. With state of the art technology. These ranged units have increased range and high damage. We'll leave it with that. What's up about a cleric? Maybe I make this one the cleric. This one the medic. No. Do a priest. Why not? Priest. Calls upon the gods. Calls upon the gods for healing those around him. The priest doesn't do any damage. His no worries, Rymus, it's all good. I sort of have a general idea. Calls upon the gods for healing those around him. While the priest doesn't do any damage, his ability to heal is outmatched by none except his ability to heal is, I go with incredibly strong. I don't know how to word it, otherwise really strong. And then we'll go ahead and do let's see, mage, and we'll do what, wizard? I don't know. Yeah, I'll do wizard. Often often what's the term? Often used, no. Often asked. Okay, I'll go with someone who has calls upon the god who has incredible knowledge of magical abilities, casts powerful spells, applies debuffs and buffs, and can also counter spell. However, he is weak. However, they are weak and frail. I think that should be pretty good for the adventures. At least for like the basics. I do want to add some more specialized enemies from time to time that have niche uses, and some enemies that you won't really ever see. But let's say you have a dungeon that's set in a mountain, right? There would be enemies, enemies that like dig, like dwarves, right? Dwarves would be their own, just their own thing. Your stereotypical dwarf. To where they are able to pretty much breach in different rooms, so they might be able to get by your defenses type deal, or maybe something like that. Or there will be some that might be dungeon specific, or there will be some that are just interesting enemies Yeah, so I was thinking there might be some location-specific enemies. Like, let's say so there's the dwarves, which would be countering the mines. There's, I think, the Griffin Riders, right? If you have a tower, right? Pretty much waste to sap to get by your defenses. There would be Griffin Riders, and Griffin Riders, you would, bring enemies to higher floors in the tower. Stuff like that. What else? And then I was also thinking, so like having dungeon specific enemies in the sense that they are there to sort of counter stuff in the dungeon, and then I want to be more like specialists in a sense, like enemies, because these guys are your absolute basics, ones that you're gonna get probably a lot of, like knights and archers and healers and mages and sneaky boys, right? You would get a lot of those, pretty common. But then you would get more specialized enemies that they aren't beefy enough or unique enough to be their own boss, but they'd be almost like a mini boss in a sense. Either a mini boss or not. I guess not necessarily a mini boss. Maybe when they're first introduced, depending on how strong you are, right? Or just sort of like a new unit, like a flamethrower type dude or whatever, stuff like that, or like a guy like a beast master or something, something that isn't quite, special enough to be its own boss, but something that would be pretty interesting in its own right. You died. Oh, and then, yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna go ahead and go to bed here. I feel like this is a pretty good start for what I've got here. I reinstalled Game Maker Studio 2 or whatever the fuck it's called. So hopefully I'll be able to get reacquainted with that. Oh, there will be a lot, and I mean a lot of a lot of research as to, hey, how do I code? Because I think the main thing is going to be using a grid-based system, and obviously sprites and everything too. It's grid-based, turn-based, a good way to put it. Stuff like that. It's definitely going to be a lot, but I think if I keep everything manageable and do it bit by bit, I'll be able to do it. And who knows, maybe I'll probably ask for help. I don't want to like pay anyone, but like for like art and like music, I think would be the two things that I would need help with, because I could try doing the programming right. I think that's what I want to do, and I want to be the main like director as to like, but yeah, let's leave it there. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go to bed here. Let me just close out of that. Thanks everyone for coming out to this very interesting stream. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to be streaming tomorrow or not, because it is going to be the day before Thanksgiving. Did a number. Well, hey, I'm glad that things worked out, It's a nice little vibe stream. But thanks everyone for coming out. If it's morning time for you, good morning. If it's evening or afternoon, good evening, good afternoon. I hope you have a good rest of your day. If you're watching us through the VOD, I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. If times are tough, or if you aren't feeling well, I hope things get better and you feel better and come out stronger on the other side because of it. If it's nighttime for you, or if you're about to go to bed, good night, sleep well, and sweet dreams. But regardless of what time it is, have fun,